I'm just gonna spend a few minutes cleaning these little tiny screws that go in the timing cover. They are little tiny also. Each one of them has a little locking, one of those little funny looking star-shaped locking nuts on it. I don't know if you can see that. It's not a locking nut, a locking washer. Not what I'd call a lock washer, because a lock washer's split. This is those little lock washers that have a little star-shaped thing on them. They're very tiny. They work well. Yeah, they work well. I should have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 of them, and I've got 2 pins. So what I think I'm gonna do is once I get these 10 bolts cleaned up, is take my gasket. I might put a tiny little layer of I want to say Permatex. When I was a kid, everything that you used on a motor for gasket sealer was Permatex. I mean, that's all there was. Now they've got all these silicone sealant things. And I made a comment to a young fellow the other day about putting some Permatex on that. He says, well, Permatex is not as good as RTVX Black or something like that. And I was thinking, you know, that's beside the point. Saying Permatex is like saying Kleenex. Get a box of Kleenex. Well, they're not actually Kleenex. Kleenex is a brand name. They're tissues. But back in the day, you know, the company that made tissues was Kleenex. So everything that was related to what we now call a tissue would have been a Kleenex in those days. It's like Coke. Everything down south, you went to get a cold drink, you was going to go get a Coke. That's about all there was, unless you got a Yahoo, which is a chocolate drink. I mean, nowadays they got all these different varieties and sundries and things, you know. So sometimes things that just have a certain name, that name doesn't. Anyway, Permatex. Yeah, that's the stuff you put between the gasket and the metal. Actually, what I've got here is some gold stuff, high temperature or something or another, whatever it is. Anyway, with all these silicone gasket materials, it's a good idea not to put too much on. The pieces of silicone, if you have too much on there, can fall off and get in your oil system and clog things up. I saw Mr. Heavy Chevy the other day showing a picture looking inside either an exhaust or an intake port on a car, and there was a piece of gasket material holding one of the valves open. That's why the car wouldn't run good. So you have to be careful not to get too much of that stuff in your engine, because it can do things inside your motor that you don't want to have done in there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got a bunch more of these, but I guess the rest of them are probably for the oil pan, which makes sense. So, let me get my gasket and my material that I'm going to use here. This gasket's going to go right here. There's a little pin in each side of this. Let me turn y'all so you can see that. Y'all see what I'm looking at here. See that gasket? There's my sealer right there. I got some ultra copper. Yeah. So, my gasket's going to go right there. I think what I might do is just lay this down on a flat surface. Or what I might do instead is take me some of this here ultra copper and just put a little bit of a bead on there and take a screwdriver and flatten it out. That'll work too. Got a nice fresh tube here that hasn't been violated yet. That won't last long. Little dab, do you? It's about the same color as Chevrolet orange, so that's a plus. Sometimes I'll just let that sit on there and kind of harden up a little bit. What I might do is just take my little screws here and put one in each one of these holes, and then go in the house and finish off that cup of coffee I started this morning, and let that kind of harden up a little bit. I'm not in a hurry here. Give me a chance to go ahead and put the there's another seal that goes in the center of that timing chain cover, and give me a chance to put that seal in place in that thing while this is hardening up. Alrighty, so let's go find the seal that I'm going to need. Alrighty, this is my timing chain cover right here. This little thing right here is your timing marks. There's a 0 on this, and there's a little slot on the harmonic balancer, and when that line on that slot is even with that 0, that top dead center, and it's forward and reverse of the top said dead center, will allow you to set your timing a little bit ahead or a little bit behind. Generally on a car back in the old days, if you set your timing slightly ahead, it would run faster, but if you set it too far ahead, it wouldn't start. And what you're doing when you set your timing ahead like that is that you're dancing the compression. A lot of times on old motorcycles and stuff, they would have or even Model Ts and stuff, they'd have a place where you could retard your compression to crank it and kick it over, and then you could advance the compression and get it running. I think that idea, it didn't last too long, but it did last for a while there. It was a common feature on automobiles. And another common feature was you could change your timing to advance the throttle, because a lot of the early throttles didn't even have like a gas. Like nowadays you mash the gas and it squirts more gas in the carburetor, but on some of the early cars you would do that with a vacuum by advancing the timing. So this little seal that I have in my hand goes right into this hole here, and it goes in with the open side toward the back. And basically the way you put that in there, you just tap it in with a hammer. And I was going to scrape out the paint around the edge of that before I put it in. And then you just put the hammer right there, it's perfect for it. Might want to sit that down on something solid. Hammer on. I just do it right here. The best way to do that is not the way I did that. The best way to do that is to get it all going in there evenly instead of getting one side kind of pushed over like I did. Let me see if I can ease that back out without damaging it. I'm going to go over and work on my vise. It might not have been the best way to do it, but it's done. Let's come back over here and scrape around the back of this thing again. Okay,